welcome. It's so great to see you again.
Good to see you too, Susan.
I'm just sorry that you're not with me here in person, but
I know, me too.
you're with me in heart.
Yes, always.
That's why we're wearing red.
That's why. Yes, 'tis the season.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it would be nice to make our annual video together about Christmas, because I know we did a song last year, and of course we've got a special one planned for this year as well.
Yeah.
And being that it's the holidays, it's nice to review, what we want to do about the holidays, because I know there's a lot of people that are leaving the organization.
Right.
And it's hard for them. Some of them have never celebrated Christmas, and they feel like, why should I bother?
Right.
And there's other people who have had celebrated Christmas before, and now they're like getting reacquainted again. And they're trying to decide, do I want to do this or not? And I just wanted to talk about the fact that, we all know why Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate the holidays. In fact, the problem, though, I find with it is that if you're not able to make up your own mind whether or not you want to do it or not, because they threaten you with punishments if you do try to celebrate.
Yes.
For example, something that I didn't even know, but it's in the, I'm just going to get it up here. I'll put it up on the screen. It's in the Elders book. Were you aware, when you were a witness, were you aware that if you celebrated Christmas, you would have been labeled an apostate?
I don't know if I remember that specifically, but knowing how they think and reason on things, that does make sense. They would have that in there based off of their belief system.
Yeah, exactly. We're never really told, and I never saw it in black and white, but when you look in the Elders Shepherd the Flock, there it is, under things that identify you as an apostate. The very first point they have is celebrating false religious holidays.
Okay.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But so you don't really have a choice as to whether or not you want to do it. But I think the question I would like to ask Jehovah's Witnesses is that if the organization didn't punish you with, labeling you an apostate and then disfellowshipping you and cutting off your family, would you still take the same hard stance against holidays?
I would imagine with a lot of the holidays, most wouldn't take issue with them. And here's the part when you talk about you don't really have a choice. It's amazing how many things that are technically of a pagan origin that witnesses are allowed to do. So why are, like, with the example of wedding rings and things like that, why is it that that's been deemed okay? So why are some pagan traditions okay and then others aren't? So I just see some hypocrisy there on that end of it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's funny, one thing, when I was just researching for this last night, I found a really interesting article. It's actually, everybody, if they have a chance, go to the jwfacts website.com and just type in Christmas, do a search on Christmas. And he has an excellent article where he discusses all the holidays. But one thing I found really interesting is that, and as many people already know, Charles Taze Russell and all the way up until 1927, Rutherford celebrated Christmas. The whole Bethel family celebrated Christmas.
Yeah, they did.
But what you may not be aware of that I thought was really interesting, in a Watchtower, I believe it, and I'll put it up on the screen when I do the final editing of this video, but I believe it was an 1881 Watchtower. It actually said that celebrating Christmas it's totally pagan. It has totally pagan origins, and yet they didn't have a problem. They actually said something to the effect that, well, we might as well go along with the way the world is.
That's interesting.
They said that in one of the magazines.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think the big thing to do when it comes to researching is to look into the pagan origins. Like, why did the pagans, first of all, look into what pagans actually are. And then second of all, look at why certain holidays and celebrations and festivities were implemented. And when you start doing a little more research and digging, you'll find out that a lot of the whole paganism was vilified because those people that had those belief systems couldn't be controlled and manipulated because they understood energy. They were just very much more in tune with nature and more loving. So a lot of those things that we were told within the religion and other religions too, they're really not entirely accurate and are really taken out of context and are painting a dark picture of something that's actually quite light.
Exactly. I mean, there's things, you know, when you look at all the other holidays as well, I mean, Christmas seems to be a big offensive one to Jehovah's Witnesses, but
Yes.
there's a lot of other holidays that they take a stand against as well. In fact, all of them.
Yeah. So yeah, which one don't they?
But what I found weird is, I mean, when I used to, when I worked in an office, I remember I was approached by one of my coworkers, and she knew, because everyone knew I was a Jehovah's Witness. And she said to me, "Can you just tell me the reason why you don't celebrate Valentine's Day?" And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't remember. All I said to her was, "It has pagan origins," right? I think. I don't even remember. And I was kind of floored, and I tried to give her, you know, a piecemeal.
Yeah, some kind of reason. I know a lot of things I'd have to sort of look it up again, because people aren't even now, people don't celebrate for those reasons. They look at it like Valentine's Day as being one of acknowledging their, you know, romantic partner.
Yeah.
Mother's Day and Father's Day, it gives a time where people, first of all, the one thing I did like that I learned from being a witness was how to really just be more spontaneous and appreciate people on a daily basis. But let's face it, people get so carried away that it's nice to have a certain day where somebody's honored, whether it's the Mother's Day, the Father's Day, the birthday. I never understood birthdays not being celebrated. Like some of the other holidays I could, you know, at the time I could see why. That was, of course, because I didn't do full research. But the birthday one I always thought was like entirely stupid. And I found it actually really embarrassing that we didn't celebrate them. So people they don't associate those things with it. So I think, and there's been a lot of, you know, even people that are not witnesses, people get tired of commercialism with holidays. And that's why there's been more of a change over the years where people are trying to do more things that aren't so commercialized. Or, you know, I know families, for example, on Christmas Day, they'll go into soup kitchens and they'll help, you know, with putting on dinners and things for those that, you know, maybe less fortunate. So I think there's a lot of really beautiful things that can come out of it, and just trying to always being so different that it's like, oh, is everybody wearing black? Okay, well, I have to wear purple then. Like every single thing we did in our lives, we had to be entirely different and like an alienated outcast from society is what it felt like. It felt like being an alien, you know, and some of us are okay with being different and standing out, or, you know, like I know probably with both of us with our personalities, that part maybe we didn't care as much, but then sometimes you did. Sometimes, because if something was bothering you, or if you thought this is kind of dumb, you felt like you just like, okay, but let me just do this because this is what I'm supposed to do. But really, it was embarrassing.
And
And
there wasn't
days. Awkward.
Totally awkward. Yeah, because they wanted you to be no part of the world. You had to stand out as different.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you feel like freaks half the time.
Yeah.
And it's okay if there was a good reason, I would have no problem with it. But some of it, no, there was really no good reason.
No, and that's the thing. That's why when that coworker approached me, I never wanted that to happen again. I never wanted to feel so like I can't think of a good reason. So I would prepare. So I knew like Thanksgiving was coming up, and so I would read up on that so that if anybody should ask me, I could have a quick response, because I could never remember the reasons. I mean, do you even remember the reason why we didn't celebrate Thanksgiving? I know you love to talk about the Horde.
I think the Horde of Blood. What is that about? I think there might be a few things with it that had a little bit of pagan, but ultimately it had to do with not giving thanks or praying with anybody else that had a different religion. So if everyone's being grateful, you could not be grateful at the same time. You had to be grateful at another time. So there was no way that your gratefulness was commingled with anybody else's gratefulness.
Like some kind of mingling your worship with false.
Yes, don't mingle. There's no mingling. Okay. You can be grateful, but do it at an entirely different time. If everyone's doing it at 12 o'clock, you must do it, you know, at 2:46 p.m.
Like everyone's buying turkeys. So my mom, I mean, turkeys would go on sale, right? So
they would be on sale.
not serve it on Thanksgiving so that she
Yes. But it'd be a
you know?
different day. You could not have it on the same day, even though it was on sale. And you finally, everyone had the day off. So you actually had time to cook it and wait
Or
for
actually, sometimes my mom would cook it on Christmas,
Yeah.
Christmas dinner, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not call it Christmas dinner. Well, it was on sale, so it's okay. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just so happy to not have to keep researching my beliefs. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't believe something, why should you be forced to do it? Why should you be threatened to do it with punishment if you do decide to do it? You know?
Right. Right.
I mean, you know, and the thing is, I think it's that there is that one verse I do want to read, because I think some people who are Bible readers are going to be, when I read this, I really thought, yes, why did I never think about this verse? The one in Colossians 2:16, where it says, therefore, do not let anyone judge you about what you eat and drink, or about the observance of a festival, Christmas, or of the new moon, or of a Sabbath.
Right.
You know, why is it that they have to judge? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me, you know. And using the commercial, it's funny what you said earlier about the commercial aspect of it, and how I know witnesses sometimes will use that as an excuse. Well, this is why, you know, oh yeah, it's becoming so commercial, and this is why we don't, it's another reason not to celebrate Christmas. Well, that's got nothing to do with why you don't celebrate Christmas.
Right.
You know, that's just an excuse that you're sort of adding on. But
Right.
but your reasons are nothing to do with the fact that it's become commercial.
No, not at all.
And like you said, there's a lot of nice ways to celebrate Christmas that it doesn't have to involve giving gifts at all. It can just be having.
No, I know a lot of people that don't actually, they don't do it. No.
Yeah. So the way I look at it, I don't want to belabor this point, but I think, you know, if you want to do it, there's no reason in the world why you shouldn't be able to do it. There's no reason in the world why you should feel guilty. I personally love celebrating Christmas. One reason is I have a little boy, so there's another big reason, because he finds it so exciting.
Yes, of course.
I'm excited to see him excited.
Yes.
You know, but I feel like a little kid too. I mean, because I never had it.
It's exciting. Yeah, it's it feels very magical. It really does.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. And I think just when I first left the organization, I took great issue with celebrating any holidays. I had a hard time. And I think the big thing is not to feel pressured either way. You don't have to do it, and you don't not have to do it. And each person really just needs to sit with themselves and look at, like, what is your intention? What are your thoughts? And maybe if certain parts of it are bothering you, you're like, oh, I don't really like that, then don't do that. Like, you don't have to do anything. You're under no obligation either way. So just do what feels right based off of your comfort level, because this isn't important. It's really not important. It's just what matters to you. It's important to you.
Yeah, and you can set your own traditions. I mean, like my brother and his wife. Seeing that we were brought up together, and of course we never had Christmas our whole lives, and he and his wife were both witnesses, and they both faded. Mm-hmm. They never ever celebrate, and they don't have any children. They never wanted to celebrate Christmas. They were like, well, why would we? You know?
Right.
So, but they do their own thing. They pretty much always go on cruises. You know,
I mean, everyone has the time off usually, and a lot of companies, I know, they'll like maybe close between Christmas and New Year. So, you know, some people I know have like a whole week off in between, and, you know, other people in the service industry, depending what service industry you're in, sometimes you're just not as busy then, so you have more time to do things. But so what? Yeah. Whatever you feel like, it doesn't matter.
I mean, to me, it's a nice time to do whatever you want. If you and I know some things trigger. I've been looking at some of the posts on Facebook, and I see that some people are very triggered by Christmas.
Yeah, they are, because they don't have, because now maybe other people, you know, families have traditions, and you don't have anything, and then people feel like, you know, you're alone. But you do not have to be alone on the holidays. That does seem to trigger a lot of like lonely depressionness for people, but that happens to people that aren't witnesses. That's kind of common this time of year, because it brings up, you know, how many friends have you got? How's your family? You know, like so it can trigger all those emotional things. And that's why it's wonderful that now there are so many other opportunities that you have the holiday time, that you really don't have to be alone. And I know one of my friends told me that they always said that, you know, what's one more person at the, at their holiday dinner. Like their doors were always open if somebody, needed to go somewhere. And I know I've always got like multiple places, invitations of places I could go to. So it's fine. Yeah.
To me, it's all about finding a way to be happy.
It is.
However that is. I mean, some people, happiness is just sitting by the fire by themselves, reading a book.
Yeah.
And that's their happiness. It's a break from their job. It's a break from everything else. It's just a chance to regroup.
It is.
And what I like too is I like the New Year's as well, because I like the idea of starting afresh. So if you're not happy with your now, there's also an opportunity to set some resolutions, set some goals for yourself, look at your life, how can you make the needed adjustments. What is it you feel you're missing?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, very true.
Something else we weren't allowed to do. I don't understand the resolutions, why we weren't allowed to make resolutions.
I don't either. It was just that one was really silly. It was completely illogical. I remember. Again, I think it's just because everybody else is doing it. I think it had something to do with that. Other people are doing resolutions. Oh, you better not do it then. We must be different. It
was a worldly thing to do, but
then with the society, their start of their new year is September, and it's funny. Really, for a lot of people, September is a fresh month, and there's actually, there's even some pagan starts of New Year's that don't come on December 31st. So I also find that amusing. But anyway,
we should contact the society and tell them about September and the harvest and how wrong it is that they.
I know. And really, when it comes to when you start, going into that whole, self-development, self-help world, resolutions are encouraged all the time. It's not just the beginning of the year. That's just when people seem to have a fresh start with it. So it's typically a time when people do it. But really, you can have a do-over every day you wake up. I'm big on that.
Oh, yeah? Oh, so I can have a do-over tomorrow?
Have a do-over. Right in December. Just have a do-over.
Okay, well, that's all I had for today. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to chat about.
No, I think we're good for now.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got to get on to my holiday parties today.
Woo-hoo. Okay, yeah, we got lots going on here. So it was really great to catch up with you.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. All right, we'll do this again.
We will.
Okay, everybody, happy holidays to you.
Yes, happy holidays or just happy day.
Sounds great. Okay, bye.
Wonderful time of our life.
Oh, that was horrendous.
I know. That was like the worst thing ever. Wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of our life.
Mercy. Okay, it was better. Was it better? I think it was better.
Yep.
Timmy, you're trying to come out.
It's the most wonderful time of our life.
It really is. Yes. Okay. Oh God. Okay. Should we go with that?
It's the most wonderful time of our life.
Yes, it is. Woo! All right, let's do that. Okay, is that okay? I messed up a few times, but you know what? Between all of them, I'm sure there's something.
There's got to be something in there we can use. Okay, we're good.